Hey everybody, welcome to That's Peculiar. I'm Nathan.
I'm Andra.
And we got another good episode for you today. It's actually my turn today, but I guess Andra has a fun fact for us.
I do. So Edgar Allan Poe is known for detective fiction. He's like the first inventor. It's called the Murders in the Rue Morgue. So he's like started Sherlock Holmes, all of that, right? The weird thing is Edgar Allan Poe's mystery is still a death to this day, and he does not have a death certificate.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they used to do this thing back when they were trying to get people to vote, where they would take drunk people. This is sad. It has a name for it, but I can't remember. They would take drunk people and they would drug them up, dress them in weird clothes, and then force them to vote over and over, and then basically like leave them in the streets. So the weird thing is Edgar Allan Poe, the last time he was seen before he ended up in the hospital, he was seen in weird clothes, which he always wore like this same gray suit. He was seen in weird clothes, and he was like seen drugged up, and he was at a pub that was a polling station at the time. Yeah, but then he ended up going to the hospital, and there's speculations of what he died from, but nobody, like, some people think it was drug or drinking overdose. Some people think it was like a scarlet fever or like something, you know.
I don't know if I consider that a fun fact, but that's definitely really weird.
Yeah, it's a weird fact then.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
So for today's episode, I figured in honor of Wicked, we would actually talk about The Wizard of Oz.
Oh my God, Nathan, I literally watched Meet Me in St. Louis, or Louis. I say Louis, but
It's
people
Louis.
say it's Louis.
Yeah.
Sing it, and people give me such a hard time. They're all, it's Louis.
It's Louis.
Anyways, I watched Meet Me in St. Louis, and I was like, man, Judy Garland would be a great episode.
So, fun fact is we're actually not doing it on Judy Garland herself. We're doing it on the movie and like those weird stories you heard about the production.
Well, still, we might do because I was thinking about doing a Famously Insane, but
that's what I was thinking.
I feel like we're on the same, like, we've just hit that point where we've been doing this a decent amount that we're like connecting.
So originally I was like, I would like to do it on Judy Garland, but I was like, that's not what I really want to talk about. So I was like, I can come back to Judy Garland because there's so much you can talk about for Judy Garland.
Yeah.
So like, we're gonna breach some of, Judy Garland's stuff in this, but this is mainly, we're just talking about the Wizard of Oz and all that. Like this is the 19.
God, this is so cool.
We're gonna talk about the 1939 Technicolor movie, but not necessarily the production itself, just kind of the weird things,
stories,
and alleged stuff that happened on stage, because people like to say that it's a cursed production, or a cursed movie or whatever. And then when you come into like right now too, even Wicked the show, there's weird stuff has happened, like Idina Menzel, she fell into the trap door that she's supposed to go into, and she broke ribs.
Really?
Yeah, and so people are saying that the movie itself is also might be cursed, but I haven't heard anything about what was going on during production, so I'm sure that'll come out later. All right, so of course we're talking about MGM's The Wizard of Oz, 1939. It was one of the first like Technicolor films, so it was originally when they started filming it, it was in that black and white sepia kind of tone, and then she opened the door into Oz, and all of a sudden it was Technicolor, which was huge, very groundbreaking technology at the time. So very exciting. So interestingly enough, we're just gonna talk about dramas that go on, things that happen, just kind of the tea. So Judy Garland was actually not the first choice to play Dorothy. Shirley Temple was considered, but she lacked the range that Judy Garland had. So Judy Garland actually grew up in a vaudeville family, and she actually performed with her sisters. And so she kind of grew up doing all this performing and stuff. So
yeah,
she had a very, she's just a talented lady, as we all know.
mm-hmm.
Ray Bolger was initially cast as the Tin Man, but switched roles with Buddy Ebsen because he preferred the role of Scarecrow. I don't know.
So I actually knew that one. That's the only thing I knew.
When you get a role, how can you go, actually, like, I don't want to play this role. Give me that one.
Well, I think the Tin Man actually got really sick because of the paint they were putting on him.
We're working towards that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I don't blame him. Maybe he didn't want all of that paint put on him. How did I even know that?
It's just those things that you hear over time.
I feel like I just pulled that out of, like, I didn't wear Narnia. It was just in there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just in the recesses of our brains. There's things that we just remember.
But I can't remember what I ate for lunch yesterday. Great.
So there were some early challenges with pre-production delays due to budget concerns, and of course, they were doing frequent script rewrites, which is interesting to me when it's based on a book. Can't be that hard to follow. You can have the source material right there.
Do you know if the author was involved?
I don't. Because that's not where we're really going with this one.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was just curious if you knew, because I feel like sometimes when script changes happen, it's because of a clash between, like, a director and a author. So I was just curious.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's also hiring and firing of the directors. Richard Thorpe was replaced by George Cukor, then Victor Fleming took over, before then being succeeded by King Vidor for post-production. So a lot of hands, there's a lot of swapping, and I feel like that gets really messy.
Yeah. I don't like how they do directors in movies today, how it's like Pitch Perfect didn't have the same director.
Well, I mean, Harry Potter was also the same for a minute, but then Chris Columbus came back, I think, towards the middle.
He was like a part of the production the whole time. Like, he's on all of the movies, but he was just kind of like a background.
Yeah, I didn't like that because what he did was really good work.
Yeah.
So the most things that we're going to really talk about is, like, there was a physical toll on the cast and the crew. And one of the topics is their makeup and costumes themselves was actually really dangerous. So we're going back to the Tin Man. So Buddy Ebsen did suffer from aluminum poisoning from the Tin Man's makeup. And he actually had to leave production. So the original actor left because his makeup was a white face paint that they covered in aluminum dust. And then he would inhale that and it coated his lungs.
Right.
So he had severe cramping, difficulty breathing, which ultimately led to him being rushed to the hospital. He actually spent 2 weeks in an oxygen tent and was in critical condition. But it's interesting to note that the studio was furious and they told him to return to work
immediately. Yeah,
they were like, we don't care, you need to be here for production. But Ebsen's skin had actually turned blue due to the reaction, and the studio was told by doctors that he couldn't return immediately to work, and so they replaced him with Jack Haley. Yeah, crazy. I mean,
could you imagine being that actor and being like, I almost died for this movie,
and I'm not coming back,
and you're just replacing me?
Everybody's replaceable, darling. You're just a number.
Yeah, and they changed the makeup after that, didn't they?
They did. So Jack Haley's makeup was reformulated into an aluminum paste, but he still got an eye infection, which required surgery.
Yeah, man. Like, how dare they?
I mean, I feel like that would not be allowed on today's sets.
I mean, no, of course not. People would sue you. Also, I don't think you'd be able to just replace them after they almost died.
Contracts. I mean, they also have production time and all that. I'm sure there's ways.
Was this MGM?
Yes, it was MGM. The Lion Roar.
They did a lot of shady shit. I'm gonna say it. MGM is shady.
They were messed up back in the day.
Yeah.
So, like, and Margaret Hamilton, the Wicked Witch, her makeup contained toxic copper and was highly flammable, which caused her to actually be hospitalized after severe burns during a fiery exit scene.
Yeah.
It was one of the scenes where her broom catches fire, jumped from her broom into her face, and she was in the hospital for weeks. When she returned to set, she was still not, her hands were not completely healed, and so she had to wear green gloves.
Yeah.
But she also, it was so bad she actually sustained some nerve damage.
I feel like they looked black in the movie.
She was wearing green gloves. That's what it says.
Was she? I haven't seen it for so long, but
I kind of want to watch it now that we're doing this episode.
Yeah.
They actually also had, because her makeup was really strong, they had to use rubbing alcohol to remove the makeup from her skin.
Oh my gosh, like over and over and over again.
Daily, yeah. It became quite a painful process, and even after the movie was done and they were done, filming, one of her friends was like, you look a little weird, and the green from the paint took months to actually fade away completely. That's how it stained her skin. That cannot be healthy.
No. Dorothy is the only one that had I know she had a lot, but she didn't have makeup.
No, she had no makeup, but everybody got doused with asbestos.
Yeah.
So then there's the Scarecrow. Ray Bolger's Scarecrow prosthetics actually left burlap markings around his face. His injuries not as bad as everybody else's, but he was wearing those rubber prosthetics, and he wore them so much and so often it caused indents of burlap into his skin, which took months to fade away as well.
That would be embarrassing. People are like, what is that on your face?
Are you
and
okay?
You're like, oh, I just wore burlap for a really long time.
And it wasn't even real burlap. It was rubber prosthetic.
My, oh my, how we have come along.
So also, with that being said, because all these people were wearing this intense makeup, this toxic makeup, they were not allowed to eat in costume or in makeup, and they had to drink only through a straw.
How did they all not just lose a bunch of weight? Did they go home and gorge?
I'm sure they did too, because they're we're gonna be talking about the Cowardly Lions costume. It was made from real lion's pelts, and it weighed 90 pounds.
Yeah, that's insane.
And it was the same costume that he wore every day. And oddly enough, he didn't pass out underneath the lights from the set because he's just awesome, I guess. But other people who didn't wear as much as he did pass out from the heat.
Which is so crazy.
The Technicolor lights were so hot and so bright that people, it was I can't imagine how hot being on that stage was. So he had
with all of those people.
All the people, and then
that there's no scene without basically at least four people at a time.
Minimum.
Yeah, but there's some scenes where it's I don't even know how many people are on the stage.
Yeah, it's insane to think that all these people did pass out just from being on the stage lights, and he sweated so much in his Cowardly Lion. He sweat so much that they had to put it into an industrial drying bin every night to dry it out.
Oh my God. That is so embarrassing.
That's disgusting. I can only imagine what it smells like.
Can you imagine how much water he had to drink? He had to have lost. He was basically in a hot suit.
Yeah, he was. He sweated profusely. And
a 90-pound hot suit.
You can actually see it. If I recall, there are scenes where you can see sweat streaming down his face, and
I think they tossed it into the Cowardly Lion performance.
Oh, he's just so
I think he even does this.
Yeah, he's just so scared that he's just dabbing his sweat away.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I really do think that happens, and he does this.
Yeah, I think he
costume.
Does. He pats his forehead, I think, at some point. Oh no, I'm just so scared.
I'm so cowardly, but I'm dying in this costume.
Absolutely dying. So now,
thank God it was a hit, Could you imagine if that flopped?
So it actually was not a hit in the theaters itself. It did not actually, it was kind of a flop when it was in the theater. It really didn't gain traction until it was released.
That is, God, those people. Probably like, are you kidding?
They're like, well, we put all this work into it. And now, I mean, now it's got like, I think it's got a cult following and it's just crazy. I need to watch it.
So do I.
So going back to now the asbestos, the snow in the poppy field scene was made from asbestos fibers. It was widely used at the time for snow, apparently for other productions as well, despite its harmful effects. So for those of you who don't know, asbestos exposure is extremely dangerous and can lead to asbestos cancer and mesothelioma.
Yeah. At the time, they also used to use it on fake Christmas trees. Fun fact.
Yes, that was something that I read as well. And they said that if you have like an older Christmas tree, you might want to
just
get rid
of it. Yeah. It's your grandma's fake Christmas tree with snow. Don't use it.
So I actually looked up mesothelioma because I just remember, like, if your loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma, you can be entitled to compensation. That's all I think about. So I had to look it up.
I'm now really curious if the commentator that does that commercial does the face like he did.
I feel like if I was a voiceover actor, I would make faces all the time.
Yeah, that would be. You could. You and Jack both could.
So mesothelioma is a cancer that affects the tissue that lines many of the body's organs, which is called the mesothelium.
So the tissue that lines the organs, so that's the liver, that's the intestines, that's the stomach, that's...
So it says many of the body's organs.
I mean, the heart even has tissue.
Well, I mean, it's that lines the organs. I didn't look into which organs in particular, but it probably is like the heart, the lungs, the kidneys.
That's
the
just
liver.
Insane that you can get a cancer in the tissue that lines organs.
Well, I mean, cancer is just cells that replicate crazily. So you can get anything.
I just feel like I usually hear about people getting it in one spot, but can you imagine having it like...
Oh, mesothelioma, I feel like can spread everywhere very quickly.
Yeah, I think it's so scary.
A very dangerous cancer. I think it's aggressive, actually. Don't know.
Sorry, I heard my baby, like, I thought he fell. I thought he fell, but he didn't. I didn't hear it screaming, so...
So, mesothelioma affects the mesothelium of your organs.
Okay, right.
So, Margaret, nobody is, like, without incident in this movie. Like, everybody had something happen.
Right.
Margaret Hamilton's stunt double. Margaret Hamilton is Wicked Witch.
Right.
Her stunt double was seriously injured when her broomstick rig exploded.
This must also be that fire scene.
No, so this is actually, the scene where the smoke comes out of the broom and she's doing the skywriting?
Yeah.
So there's like a close-up of the witch riding her broom. That's where the explosion happened.
Oh my God.
So where the smoke came out of the broom, it went kablooey. So, and funny thing is they did film a successful filming of that section, and it didn't happen until they decided to do another take. So they had a good take.
So it was for naught.
Yeah, so they had a good take.
They were like, maybe we could do better.
Yeah, let's just do it one more time. And kablow, What?
Doesn't that seem like Murders in the Building?
What?
Did you watch that season? Season 4, I think.
I'm in season 4.
Oh, still.
Yeah, we stopped watching.
So did we.
Yeah, we got distracted. There's other stuff. So she was thrown across the stage. That's how big the explosion was. She sliced open her leg, and it got her sent to the hospital for 11 days.
Man.
There was actually another incident involving the Wicked Witch's stunt double. Dance director, there's like I think it's during the Yellow Brick Road scene where the Wicked Witch pops out. There's a trap door that she springs out of, and the dance director was telling everybody, stay away from the trap door. You will fall in. He's telling the Munchkins, all the actors, and all that stuff. And what happens to the dance director? He fell into the trap door. He stepped on the trapdoor, fell in, and landed on the stunt double and injured her more.
Oh my God. What's even like more ironic about that is, from my memory of the movie, the Wicked Witch is in there, but like not that much, you know? Like,
no, I'd say she's got a pretty, she does quite a bit. And I have to watch it. I just mean
compared to the 4. Like, there's a lot of scenes of them just like roaming.
Yeah, they're on their way to meet the Wizard of Oz.
I know, but I just mean,
when
like,
there was a train the whole time.
She's not there.
No, she pops up a couple times during their adventure. I know.
Yeah.
That.
What about Glenda? Anything happening? I'm skipping. Nope. Go ahead.
Actually,
continue.
I actually didn't see anything about anything happening to the Good Witch, which is kind of funny.
But she's also only in like one scene, right?
She's in the beginning.
In the end?
In the end.
That's it.
She's not in it much in between.
No.
Yeah.
If at all.
I would remember her face.
Mm-hmm.
Flying monkeys that were suspended during flying monkey scenes also suffered injuries when wires would snap during filming.
Are those people?
Yeah.
Those are people in those costumes?
Yeah.
I actually thought they were like some sort of contraption that was made.
No, they're people. I'm sure some of them were fake, but there was people in costumes doing...
That is insane.
Yeah.
So they actually had them flying above the stage with those weird-ass wings?
They had wires, yeah. They were flying, and they would snap, and then they would fall and get injured.
Oh my God.
Because we're not anything if not safe by checking our rigging.
I just don't understand how this didn't get shut down. Like,
I think it was just a product of its time where danger was inherent.
Well, yeah, and Hollywood didn't used to be like what Hollywood is now.
There's a lot of protections in place now for animal safety, human safety.
It's also like being an actress at one point wasn't as, well, as we're hearing, it wasn't as glamorous as what it is now. It wasn't like, you know,
that's true.
Yeah, that is crazy that those were people. I've never known that my whole entire life.
Your mind is blown knowing that there was people in monkey costumes.
Yeah, no, seriously, I thought they were like little metal things that they just like, those are people with metal things attached to a wire, basically risking their life to pretend they're flying monkeys.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Checks out.
Keep going.
So now we're moving to we're getting to the more like rumors and scandals and more of those like, did that really happen?
Give me that.
So we're going to talk about the Munchkins' behavior. Mm-hmm. The actors who played the Munchkins. So there are allegations of inappropriate behavior by the Munchkin actors. Some of them, not all of them. It is said that the stories are often It is stated that the stories are often exaggerated, but to me that also kind of sounds like it could be problematic and a little victim blamey depending on what you're talking about.
Well, just real quick, were they Munchkins? Or small people or
they were
whatever?
Little people. Yeah. The Munchkins in the original 1939 were played by little people.
I'm just asking for anybody that doesn't know.
Are you sure about that?
Including myself.
I'm just asking for the people out there.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that fun? I mean, of course, take crazy stories with a grain of salt, but at the same time,
hold on. I'm not over this.
That they're played by little people or the monkeys?
No, it's just, did they put a casting out and say like, if you're below this height, come join our film?
Probably. They probably had to do a casting call for little people.
I'm not surprised there was issues then. Like, where did these people come from?
Well, everybody wants to be an actor when you're down in LA, Hollywood.
You think all of these people lived in Hollywood?
No.
Me either.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if some of them were like circus performers as well. I'm curious. No. So the Munchkins had been accused of being drunks and getting smashed every night.
So possible circus performers.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, you just, day's over.
That's what I'm curious. How did they cast? Yeah. Okay. Continue. I'm so sorry. I'm just curious.
So yeah. So it said that they got raucous and got drunk and smashed. And Garland, Judy was actually quoted saying at one point, "The police used to scoop them up in butterfly net."
Jeez.
That you can't go around saying that.
I mean, you can't now.
No, and I mean, you probably shouldn't have done it back then either.
But you also can't be a drunken mess on a set.
No, it was when they were done every night. It didn't say they were doing it on set. Jeez. We're professionals here.
So they just got smashed at night with the cast and crew?
Yeah, why not?
That they just happened to be around?
Yeah. I mean,
nobody went home?
No, everybody just lived on set.
That's what I mean. I feel like they had to have been drinking and then were causing ruckus at the end of the day.
I don't know. It just says that every night they would be known to get drunk. Allegedly.
Interesting. Allegedly. Yes. Okay, continue on. Sorry.
So the Munchkin actors were also accused of kind of being handsy. It's been said that they would put their hands up Judy Garland's dress.
I think I read that before, and it made me giggle like you, but it's also, do you feel weird? Because they are the Munchkin actors, but do you feel awkward, you should say something else? You shouldn't
call them Munchkins?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Munchkin actors, but I feel like at this point
but
when I see Munchkins, I'm talking about the Munchkin actors. Yeah. It's, I don't have guilt about it because I feel like that I'm talking about the Munchkin actors. If I say Dorothy, I'm talking about Judy Garland.
Yeah, and also, they're handsy.
They're handsy.
Fudgers.
Handsy little people. So, considering that a lot of the people who played Munchkins were adults, in their 40s, and they're putting their hands up a 16-year-old Judy Garland's dress.
Oh my God, I forget. She was 16.
She was very young.
So, I think I thought they were some of them were children when I was a kid.
I think some of them were children, but there were also a lot of adults.
Man, I need to watch this movie now.
Yeah, I need to clock it. I need to be child, adult.
Sketchy. Sketchy.
Probably put his hands up Judy Garland's dress at some point.
Poor thing.
Well,
can you
more.
That's what makes me think that they're drunk on set.
I think that there's a point where you can get away with stuff. And I feel like that could possibly A, product of the time period, and B, they're playing innocent Munchkins and they know that they can get away with shenanigans.
Well, then Judy Garland should get away with saying they just picked them up with butterfly nets.
The police just scooped them up in butterfly nets.
She should get away with that.
She did.
Good.
She did get away with it. So she had also claimed that she went on a date with one of the actors, and her mother turned up to chaperone, which is good. She's 16. And the man said, "Fair enough, 2 bronze for the price of 1.
Who was it?
I didn't say. It just said that she went on a date with one of the actors.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We love the 30s.
But also, 16, she was basically married off.
Well, and she's so young, and then her mom's going to be a chaperone, and then some gross guy is going to be 2 broads for the price of 1. What is wrong with people?
That's what makes me think, is he an older gentleman?
He probably was older. He was probably in his 30s.
Basically dead.
I know. In the phase he was in his 30s, he's going to die soon anyway.
50.
There's also stories of the Munchkin actors making their living by panhandling, pimping, and whoring. Gotta keep your pimp hands strong. Yeah.
Each other?
Yeah, they'd pimp and whore themselves. And other people, I guess. I mean, if you're a pimp, you're whoring out other people. And if you're a...
Okay, that's what I was confused at. Did the pimps whore out the other... Oh my God.
You could be a little person who's a pimp, and you would have your whores, which probably you had some little people as well that were your whores. But then you could also just be one of the hoes being
Where did
pimped
they
out.
find these people?
Where do you find anybody? They put out a casting call.
I mean, I get it, but I'm like, they put out a casting call for Harry Potter too.
Exactly.
And you know what?
You got some weird people.
It turned out all right. No. It turned out all right.
The movie did, yeah, but so did The Wizard of Oz. Turned out just fine. Doesn't mean weird things didn't happen off camera.
You think weird things happened off camera?
Oh, I'm sure weird things happen all the time off camera. Actors are weird.
All right, carry on.
When you work backstage on a stage, like
I remember
trying to break people's character from the wings. That's such a big no-no, but that's part of the game. You just do weird things backstage to try.
I'm so glad I can't stand a stage.
I
can't even public speak.
I feel like you would have such a fun time actually being like a stagehand and doing set changes and costume stuff. Yeah, I could see you doing
stagehand. Yeah, the art, the craft.
Yeah.
Everything with that. But getting on the stage, oh my God, I would panic. I never even finished my senior presentation because I panicked so hard. Yeah, I walked out. I left. I was shaking and I left.
You would enjoy actors. They're crazy, but they're fun. So besides the pimping and hoeing, they've also been known to brandish knives at people. It wasn't clear if it was like mugging people or holding people up, but it's also been said that they had orgies in the hotel.
So I think there's a big chance they got them from a circus.
When I hear the stories of like the kind of behaviors that the Munchkin actors had, I just kept thinking they probably were some sort of troupe that traveled, circus, something, because that's the kind of, I feel like the kind of lifestyle that you have on the road.
Because it's a collective behavior with a group of people.
Yes.
Like, how would you find this many people that are this poor behaved that just happen to be under 4 feet?
Happened to be, I don't know. But I think, I
feel like it doesn't happen.
That's why I kept thinking like probably a circus or some sort of traveling something, and then they stumbled upon this, but yeah. And also, even Toto couldn't escape something happening to him.
No, don't.
It wasn't that big of a deal. Terry the dog just got stepped on by a Winky guard and just needed...
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, he just got stepped on and just needed a bit of time off for recovery.
Where you were leading up, I was really nervous.
Just think, the dog got injured on stage. Like, I mean, you can't... No one...
We were just talking about pimps and hoes for a minute, so I was really nervous about Toto. What's his real name?
Terry. I know.
They just found a dog named Terry to call Toto.
No. Okay, so now we move into... You've heard of the hanging Munchkin, right?
You just opened up something that was hidden in my brain, and I think so, but move on.
So there is the infamous claim of a Munchkin killing himself in the background of one of the Yellow Brick Road scenes.
Yes, I have heard that.
They're skipping off, and like in the background, it looks like there is a body hanging from one of the trees.
Mm-hmm.
So it is said, and I remember watching it, and like I heard this, and I was like, no. And then I watched it again to see if I could find it, and you can see it. Like it looks like a body is actually hanging from a tree somewhere in the background. But apparently, after I got older, or I waited a little bit longer, I remember them being like, "Oh no, that's just a bird," and I was like, "That did not look like a bird spreading its wings." Apparently, there were birds that were brought in from the LA Zoo that were allowed to wander the set to make it feel more natural. And when I watched it back, they say it's that it's a shadowy figure is a bird actually spreading its wings. And when you go in and you watch that scene again, you can actually see it actually looks like a bird spreading its wings. But if you if you aren't really watching it closely, you're like, that's a dead body.
I apparently have never watched this movie closely because I never saw it.
Well, I watched it purposefully to see if I could see where the hanging body was. And then I feel like, because it's weird, because part of the set was, so they built the set and then they would paint the backdrop on the wall.
Right, that's normal.
Yeah, so they would keep walking and then they would fade out, but they were almost walking into a wall. You can actually see like where the seam is, which is so much fun to like be like, but now they have green screen, which is really frustrating.
I know.
Yeah.
Jack and I were just talking about how like effort in movies is just getting like depleted. Even the first few Harry Potters, they actually like built like the characters.
Yeah, there is a difference between putting in the effort to create a practical versus a digital, but there's still effort put in because you have to be a programmer and you have to be able to do artsy things with the computer. It still takes a lot of effort and brain power.
I understand what you're saying. It's just not like the craft. You know how people used to make clocks?
Yeah.
You know who does a mixture of both? James Cameron.
Yeah, his movies are great. He's very...
And he does a mixture of both. It's like he's still doing a whole production and everything, and I think people should embrace that a bit more.
Well, that's also why I really enjoyed Wicked, is because they do a lot of... They do a lot of the stuff that you see in the movie, they built.
What? Oh man, I'm gonna force Jack to go watch it with me.
Yeah, with Wicked, there's minimal CGI. Like the director, Mr. Chu, actually wanted to create this world that was real and you could feel it.
That's what I mean. That's what I feel like you need. You have to have that.
Yeah. So like when she's wandering through the forest and she sings, like she's actually in a set where they created a forest. They actually had live birds on their set too, and so Cynthia Erivo would sing on the set, and then like other birds would chime in too while she was singing. Like they were interacting. I love that. Yeah, like real Disney princess. Anyway, but yeah, so it's supposed to be a bird spreading its wings. I still am undecided. I feel like they edited it in the future to make it look like a bird spreading its wings, because there's different versions that get remastered.
Well, if you would like, I could get my grandma's original and watch it.
On the VCR? VHS? Oh my god, yes. I don't know what scene it is, but they're literally just skipping down Yellow Brick Road, and you can see it. He's not
okay. Yeah, I'll watch it. And give me like 3 weeks to send you an update, because my grandma and I don't see each other that much.
I'm not tripping. So there's also, I still don't know if this is true, but I've heard it before and I was researching it on the internet, and it also seems to be that it is accurate. That Harry the dog earned $125 per week. The Munchkin actors were paid $50.
And how much was Judy Garland, do you know?
Oh, I don't know that part. I remember thinking the dog made more than a person.
You mean the person that owned the dog made more than a person?
Well, yeah, that part too. But I also, so I heard that they did it because they said that like a little person was half of a person, so they deserved half as much.
I believe that.
I don't know. I mean, back for that time period, I could see that someone saying that and absolutely meaning it, but I can't confirm. It's just a rumor that comes through. Yeah, it's like, I'm like, but given the time period and how awful people were to little people, I could see someone saying that, well, you don't need that much. You're half as big.
Yeah. I mean, no wonder they were awful back.
So I could see them being angry about that. So then there's also Judy Garland. We know she had a very intense presser of a very strict diet and harassment of the executives to maintain her figure. It's led to a lifelong struggle of addiction and mental health.
Right.
It was said that she was only allowed to smoke cigarettes, and then she was on like sleeping pills every night to help her sleep, and so she just developed this dependency on substances. And it just kind of
at 16, which you don't really need to help your figure out at 16.
Well, they wanted her to maintain her figure and be girlish. That's the whole thing.
Oh, I see. So she was girlish when they started and they were worried about
they
her developing.
They didn't want her to get more womanly. So
I'm curious what her mom looked like.
No, I didn't see a picture. But yeah, so that's what they said. That was like a diet of cigarettes. I want to say that she was on some sort of diet pills as well. And then
Poor thing.
Yeah, they were just pumping her full of things not good to her.
I don't know if Meet Me in St. Louis I'm assuming it's after, but it might have been before. But, she was pretty petite in that movie as well.
Yeah, I think.
The only thing that makes me think it was after is that movie came out in black and white. It's Technicolor now, but it didn't come out in Technicolor like Wizard of Oz.
I don't know. Because I don't know. But yeah, so those are some of the interesting things on the dark side of the Wizard of Oz that happened and were kind of unfair. You have this beautiful movie that captured the hearts of millions of people, and there's just this really weird underbelly of inequality and sexism and ageism and
health.
Yeah, mental health issues. It's just it's
not just mental health, also like hospitalization.
Just actual like toxic
lead poison.
Yeah, toxic aluminum dust poisoning.
Talk about toxic workplace.
Did we mention it was toxic?
Yeah,
figuratively and physically.
Toxic. Yeah. Oh my god, that's nuts.
So, what you think?
Oh, I loved it. Actually, I really loved that episode, and it's so funny because I knew some of it, but I forgot about the hanging munchkin bit.
The hanging munchkin part is one of the weirder ones. I feel like there was more that I just could not find at the time because I remember hearing some crazy stuff when I was younger. So trying to find it.
What about the scarecrow?
What about the scarecrow?
Happened to him?
It was just the scarring on his face from his prosthetics that faded over time. Yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot. Okay.
Yeah, there wasn't.
This was a lot. That covered.
There's a lot of things that happened, but I feel like I remember there being more. However, I wanted to bring to light the ones that kind of weird. Like Toto got stepped on.
Yeah, but he also got paid a lot, so.
He got paid over double what the Munchkin actress made, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, I would think that if I didn't feel sorry for them, like I don't feel sorry for them. They seem like they were a bunch of mayhem.
Yeah, that's what that's what they come off as.
So I feel better for Toto.
So any takeaways?
I need to watch Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
again,
so do I.
And I'll watch my grandma's VHS version, and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
And Old Hollywood, not worth it.
Old Hollywood was crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like New Hollywood is crazy. They just aren't as transparent.
I think it's a hidden crazy.
Yeah.
It's not pimping and hoeing and asbestos.
As far as you know.
Well, outwardly. Allegedly.
Well, I mean, that's everything I got for you.
Oh, I loved it.
I'm so glad.
Thanks for bringing us to Old Hollywood.
Old Hollywood, all the glamour. Well, if you guys are enjoying the show, please like,
comment,
follow, commenting.
Comment.
Please comment. We like the comments. And share. I mean, we appreciate any love we can get. So thank you for tuning in to That's Peculiar. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on That's Peculiar. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and follow. If you have a peculiar topic you would like to hear, send an email to us at perpetuallypeculiarpod@gmail.com. See you next week.